Public Law 1975, laws of the state of New Jersey. The Borough Clerk has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the governing body of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2021. The Borough Clerk has posted a true copy of the schedule on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of the schedule to the local source, the Star Ledger, and the Home News Tribune, and is maintaining a copy of the schedule in her office during the year 2021. During the public health emergency caused by coronavirus, the Borough Council will continue to meet at their regularly scheduled meeting dates at 6 p.m. The council meetings will continue to commence as soon as possible after the work session. Accordingly, the notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied in regards to this meeting. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Ciceri. Here. Councilman David.
Here.
Councilman Finestrella.
Here.
Councilman Rodati.
Here.
Councilman Pence.
Here.
And Councilman Sims.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of work session council meeting of October 27, 2021?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Rodati, seconded by Councilman David. All in favor?
Aye.
Communications were received from New Jersey State League of Municipalities. Notification of awards were received from the NJDOT for the 2022 roadway project in the amount of $229,000, as well as from the county for Kids Recreation Trust for $30,000 and Greening Trust for $3,000. An invitation was received from the VFW for Veterans Day services, and department reports were received for October from the clerk's office, the finance department, the fire department, planning and zoning, police department, and public works.
Okay, is there a motion to accept communications and reports? Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Ciceri, seconded by Councilman Pence. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I just have a few announcements. There are 2 food distributions coming up, Saturday, November 20th, at 8 a.m. at Kane University in Union. It's a holiday food distribution, it's a drive-through. And there's a second one on Sunday, November 21st, 2021, at 11 a.m. that will be held at the Gerald B. Green Plaza in Plainfield, and that is a walk-up holiday distribution. Also, anyone looking to recycle their pumpkins, there's 3 areas that you can do that. One is 101 Berkeley Avenue in Berkeley Heights. The second one is 523 Trenton Avenue in Elizabeth. It's actually the recycling yard in Elizabeth. And 1300 Lambert's Mill Road in Westfield, which is the Westfield Conservation Center. Also, please be advised that Borough Hall will be closed on Thursday, November 11th for Veterans Day. We will reopen Friday, November 12th. The police department will remain open. Please use the side door. And services will be held at 11 a.m. at the Kenilworth Veterans Center. Thank you. And I'll move along to the finance report. Councilman Ladati.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be good. The grace period for the fourth quarter of 2021 taxes ended today. Any payment received after 4:30 p.m. today will have an interest accrued retroactive back to November 1st. The tax finance office will be closed November 11th in honor of observance of Veterans Day. If you'd like to make a tax bill payment online, please visit www.kenilworthborough.com. Payments made prior to 11:59 p.m. today will be credited as of if it was made in person. The tax office is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you may use the lockbox located on the finance door to leave your payment before or after hours. Please note that the check payments should be left in the lockbox with your name, address, block, and lock referenced on the check. The sales tax date has been set for 2020 non-payment of taxes, which will be held on Wednesday, December 8th at 10 a.m. at Barrow Hall. For more information regarding the tax sale, please visit www.kenilworthborough.com/tax. the tax news and the accomplishments, announcements. Notice of sale of property. You may also sign up for an email reminder. This is a new program. An email reminder program to receive reminding emails of the tax due dates and other important messages from the Bureau. Click on the link, subscribe to alerts on the top of the homepage. Fill in your email address and choose alerts you would like to receive. You can unsubscribe at any time following the same procedure. It's a new process. I think it'll help everybody here in Kenilworth. I think it's a big plus. So stay tuned, and we'll see how it works out. Thank you, Mayor. That's my report.
Thank you, Councilman Lavati. Department of Public Works, Councilman David.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. Please remind the residents that the DPW yard is open on the first Saturday of each month for recycling drop-off. The next date that it will be open from 8 to 12 is December 4th, Saturday. They have completed collection of vegetative waste with a total of 45 yards. A new collection began on Wednesday, November 3rd. Once the leaves are accumulated, they're brought up to the Union County Conservation Center. The superintendent would like to congratulate Mr. Joe Ferry, the DPW Employee of the Month for October 2021. He would also like to recognize Dominic Latour for 21 years of service and David Kokad for 1 year of service this month. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
I'm sorry, if I could just ask, about the leaf programs, that Mr. Calista here. Now, I sent an email, that says that landscapers are precluded from participating in the program. So I guess that means the landscapers can't, even if they were to bag it and put it on the curb, well, they can't, bag it and put it on the curb. So I guess my question is, and I just found this out, not just relatively recently, I had to deal with this at least. What's the purpose of allowing homeowners to bag and place at the curb, but not allowing my landscaper to bag and place at the curb? I guess that's my primary issue.
Your landscaper can't bag and place at the curb.
Okay.
The issue we're having with a lot of the residents is that they're saying that the landscapers just blow the leaves into the street and it just ends up in a neighbor's house. So most of the people that came and collect bags are actually happy now that the neighbor has to bag their leaves because now their leaves is not overcoming their property. So they can take advantage of it as far as bagging it, even in cans. They could put it in a can and we could get rid of it. The thing is that they're just accumulating these humongous piles in the street.
So in the email I saw, it said landscapers cannot participate in the program. So how, I guess my question is, how are they treated differently than a landscaper, if at all?
Excuse me?
It said in the email that I received and I saw.
I sent you the email.
Yes.
Correct.
And I saw the program, I guess, online.
Because what it
And
is-
then it said landscapers cannot participate in the program. I guess my question is, how are landscapers treated differently than a homeowner?
Of blowing it into the street. The thing is, in the
So
objective
homeowners
is-
can blow into the street or not?
No.
So no one's blowing into
objective
the
is,
street.
correct, the objective is not to have anything in the street. That's the objective.
All right, so landscapers aren't treated differently.
Nah.
So I guess.
So they can bag them, they can can them.
I
as
do
long
think
as-
if it's a commercial business and they're picking
Now-
up
now,
leaves from 20
Councilman
different
Puglisi, one
all
thing I
over,
can't,
we shouldn't be cleaning up other commercial businesses' leaves.
if I may, Mayor.
Understood.
Yes.
One issue that we are having with the landscapers, not even bring it up though, is that we noticed that you'll pull up to a house where a landscaper lives and there'll be numerous bags and cans of grass that we know don't come from that property.
Right,
And we're
that's
having
what
to take that, and I don't think that's fair to the residents of Kenilworth to have to sustain that from them.
Oh, understood. That's if anything else, no one should be coming up from other towns and dropping their sofas on the neighbors at their cousins,
Yeah.
their cousin's house and what have you, so.
But they can, the landscapers, if they bag them and they can them and leave them at the property for the homeowner, for us to dispose, we'll take it. The issue we're having is they're coming into town, they're charging the fee to the homeowner, and they're just blowing the leaves into the street.
All right, so landscapers can participate, it's just,
Correct.
For that specific property, they can leave am I correct? The leaves for that property. Like my landscaper can bag my leaves and leave them, but he can't bring them from his jobs in Cranford and wherever else he goes. and put them on that one.
Well, that makes sense, but I think this, I guess whatever was put out wasn't clear enough as to that one.
Okay, we'll make
That was
room
my,
for that.
I will be sending out a mailing and I'll email.
Because I can send you emails, like, or us, an email, now that, that being a landscaper. It's in there, but.
Once I draft the copy that's gonna go mail, I'll send it to you, to, if we need to correct anything.
Yeah, because honestly, I got an email from my landscaper, tax or something, it's like, I have to charge you more, oh, what? And that's what, that,
Extra bill.
yes,
Yeah.
so that's like, whatever, they earn their money, but that's why, for you guys, and I was like, well,
We'll take the leaves from that property if it's back again, no questions asked.
Excellent. Okay, Department of Public Safety, Councilwoman Cecilia.
Thank you, Mayor. I received Chief's report for the month of October. And for October 2021, the Kenilworth Police Department responded to 1,271 calls for service, including 259 911 calls. There was a total of 184 hours of overtime, which was primarily for patrol overtime. Officers completed 32 hours of training during October, which should increase substantially in the new year as more academies ramp up in-person training. There was a total of 29 sick days for the month of October, along with 15 on-the-job injury days off. The Kenilworth Detective Bureau investigated 26 new cases that were received during October. Notably, cases included receiving stolen property along with resisting arrest, multiple locker thefts at Retro Fitness, a Megan's Law registrant violation, one weapons offense, a late night burglary at the Shell Station, and a sexual assault. Detective Kaverick is commended for his thorough investigation, which led to the clearance and arrest of the individual who committed the burglary at the Shell Station. And finally, I am going to amend this part because in the work session I originally said 2 new candidates, but it is 3. We have, the Kenilworth Police Department has completed the detailed process of testing and interviewing candidates for the 3 new hires to start Police Academy in January 2020. As of the time I received this report, it was 2, but we have decided on 3 because of, we have retirements and it's mainly retirements. The top 4 candidates met with the Public Safety Committee on Monday, November 8th, and Chief Seuss reports that his command staff was thoroughly impressed with the quality of candidates that the process produced. Pending background psychiatric testing and medical clearance, the 2 new candidates will be ready to be appointed at the council meeting on Wednesday, December 8th. And that's it. I was at the meeting where we did interview the 4 candidates. It was, they were come from so many different backgrounds and a lot of educated people. It's gonna be good for our town. We've got some really good recruits going into the academy, and I look forward to working with them when they get on the force. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Cecilia. Planning and zoning, Councilman Finestrella.
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of October, the construction fees were as follows. Building fees were $8,436. Trust estate fees, $433. And miscellaneous fees, $1,815, for a total of $10,684. The next planning and zoning meeting is scheduled for November 18th at 7 p.m., where we have 1 new application and 2 existing. Anyone wishing to attend, 7 p.m., the Thursday, the 18th. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Finestrella. Recreation and Fire, Councilman Patton.
Thank you, Mayor. Fire report, the fire department entered 56 calls, which included 2 mutual aids. There was no rescue squad report. The rec report, trunk or treat was a great success. They had 770 people participate, of which 425 were children, with 33 vehicles. Movie night is scheduled for November 19th, weather permitting, at the Marriott Park. The details will be on the recreation page. Basketball registrations are Friday, November 12th, through the community pass system. And these details are going to be posted on the Facebook page. Flyers are sent home through the school. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Patton. Health, Education, and Human Services, Councilman Fidenzi.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting off with the Board of Health, again, this November 13th, Saturday, from 9 to 11, there will be the flu vaccine that's a carryover from the previous month's vaccine where, you know, we only had 100 and we ran out of vaccines after, I would say about after an hour and 15 minutes. So we have a carryover again, that's this Saturday at the St. Teresa's parking lot. If you want to get a flu vaccine, it's free to residents, come from 9 to 11. Again, this Saturday, St. Teresa's back parking lot for the school. Then from 11 to 1, we're going to have the rabies vaccinations for cats and dogs. Again, dogs have to be kept on a short leash, and cats have to be brought in a carrier. And also, there's going to be, I spoke to Father Giovanni, there's going to be a blessing, a holy blessing of the animals, which is going to take place at 11 a.m. that morning at the start of the rabies vaccination. And he said he will announce it as mass and make sure all the parishioners who want to go can go. But if you have an animal that, or a cat or a dog that you'd like to get blessed, come to St. Teresa's parking lot at 11 a.m. on this Saturday, November 13th. As to the library, the library's fall reading programs will continue with a special story time event on Thursday, November 11th from 3:30 to 4. Now at this event, we're actually going to have a children's author. Her name is Laura Sassy, and she will present the story time and a craft based upon her book. It's called Little You, and that's E-W-E, as in a female sheep. This event is for children 3 and up, and anyone interested and would like more information, call the library at 908-276-2451. Also, beginning on November 8th, children's 4 to 9 in Kenilworth can come to the library and check out a book and grab a fall craft kit while supplies last. Now, I have a picture of one of the craft kits that you get. I got a 4 to 9. And it basically, it's a leaf on a string and some leaves. That's something that, you know, children can enjoy while they come to our library. In addition, there will also be a special event, a special drop-in team craft. And this will be doing a type of craft called diamond art. And I have a picture of it, a picture of the craft in and of itself. And that's for the teenagers, I'm sorry. And that's for the teenagers. It looks pretty neat. It looks like they've done it on a special printer. Tomorrow, Thursday, November 11th, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And that's for teens ages 14 to 17. And, I'm sorry. The paper pals will be at the library on Tuesdays from 2 to 4. We'll be working on poinsettias and holiday houses. I had a holiday house that they provided to me. I don't have it here at home tonight, but I do have one of the poinsettias that they're working on. Again, they meet on Tuesdays from 2 to 4. If you're interested in going to the library, kill some time and join some friends like mine, you're welcome to. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman, please, one question. Could you repeat the times for the flu shot and the rabies? I don't want people to get that mixed up.
Yeah. Well, that was, the rabies, I'm sorry, the flu shots from 9 to 11. Yeah. And then from 11 to 1 is the rabies, and that's, again, that's St. Teresa's Park. That's exactly.
Very good.
No, it's funny. That's what.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add resolution, entitled resolution designating Kenilworth redevelopers urban renewal as a developer for property known as Lot 9, Block 183 in the borough of Kenilworth, and authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with Kenilworth Redevelopers Urban Renewal LLC.
I second the motion to amend the agenda.
Roll call, Councilwoman Cesare,
Yes.
Councilman David,
Yes.
Councilman Finestrella,
Yes.
Councilman Ladowdy,
Yes.
Councilman Pence,
Yes.
and Councilman Felice.
No.
Okay, make a motion to adopt the resolution, entitled resolution designating Kenilworth Redevelopers Urban Renewal LLC
as redeveloper of property known as Lot 9, Block 183 in the Borough of Kenilworth, and authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement with Kenilworth Developers, Redevelopers, Urban Renewal LLC.
I second that motion to adopt.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
No.
Councilman Ladowdy?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
No.
Councilman Luis?
No.
Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry, what we just voted on an agreement, and let me get out of order, we recommend, but we voted on an agreement for the redevelopment, for the authority to provide to you to execute the agreement, right? So, but I don't, have you seen the agreement? Has anybody else seen the final version of the agreement?
I believe it was emailed to everyone.
What I received, I didn't see a final, I saw a draft agreement that one of our professionals took issue with. So, if no one's, Linda, I don't know if you saw the final version, but I didn't see the final version. And we're being asked to give you the authority to execute this document, not knowing what the document is going to consist of. Now, what I've seen is that one of our professionals take issue with the document in and of itself. So I just don't know how we as a governing body can give you the authority to execute that document when we ourselves don't know what that document will consist of. Because what I was given was a draft that, was missing exhibits, and that one of our professionals took issue with. So I think, quite honestly, we should we've already voted on it, but I strongly suggest that we should table resolution to another time, so we can actually see the whole document and know what we're voting on, and know what we're giving you the authority to execute.
Mr. Webster, do you want to explain what was sent out?
We provided the clerk,
Can you identify who he is?
sure, Elmar Webster, the law firm of Mendocino Webster, Rich Scholar and Taylor. We've been retained as the borough's redevelopment council. We provided the clerk on yesterday with a version with exhibits that I understood was being forwarded to the council folks. So it was the final version. Didn't have signatures, obviously, but it was the final version with exhibits.
I did receive it, and I saw everyone's email on that as well.
I'm telling you, this is what was it? The developers agreement?
Yes,
And it wasn't sent to me, I'm telling you, it wasn't sent to me. I'm looking, what I received,
I see you copied on the email. I saw you copied on it, so.
no, this is what I had. What I had has no exhibits, it's got markups, it was sent by Laura. Now, the resolution I had,
There was an email sent yesterday.
the resolution and the ordinance said yesterday.
Is that the one you're referring to, or referring to last week?
I'm referring to the agreement, the redevelopment agreement, that's what we're voting on, correct? The authority to give you,
Right, the final
Yeah,
version was
actually-
sent yesterday.
all right, hold on. What I received yesterday is a resolution and the ordinance. So I'm looking at the email right now. No, let me see if there's any more. No. I would just suggest that, I didn't get it, and I wasn't copied, and if you want,
I did see it. I made sure, I looked at the email to make sure that everyone was on it. I mean, maybe there's a problem with your mailbox, but
No,
I did make sure, it was important to me that everyone received it. And I did look at it and check everyone's email to make sure.
Kathleen, did you send it? Or did Laura send it? It's not here. I have the email. If you want to take one, it'll take 30 seconds to resolve this. I have the email here, it's on my phone. The resolution and the ordinance are there, but not the agreement. Man, if we're gonna vote on something that says we reviewed it and we saw it, we need to make sure that we actually have it.
Okay, well, it was sent. And, so,
It's not here.
Well, maybe you missed it, but it was sent yesterday.
If it was sent, I'll wait email I got sent. All right, then, you know, can anyone else pull it up on their phone, see if I don't have it. Then you know what, then we were kept in the dark apparently, because it's not
The
here.
name of your email
Actually,
address
name's
was
on
on
it.
it, was on the email.
It's not, the actual agreement itself,
Yes.
I don't have the agreement. If you can pull it up,
It was probably a rather large document, I don't know if you
If I may say so, you're the first name on it.
it was a lot.
I have the resolution, and I have the ordinance. That's all they have. I don't have the agreement. I'm looking at an email sent yesterday,
I know
November 9th, from Kathy.
we sent over, I think, 3 different emails. One of them was ordinance with exhibits, one was a resolution with exhibits, one was a, just adopt the exhibits, the ordinance and the resolution, so maybe it's a large document, we are filter.
I got the same email everyone else does. Hey, what time did you go out? You know? I got something at 5:03.
That was at 5:03.
All right, so what I have here,
Yes, I
5:03.
have 5:03.
So what I have here is a resolution. I printed it out, and the ordinance. That's all I have. And if you can pull it up, I mean, I don't have it. I don't again, else, I don't think, a lot of people I know, Scott doesn't have it.
Yeah, it just has the resolution and ordinance.
All right, well, I made a motion, second. We
You know, but listen, Mark, please. The resolution says we reviewed it. How can we vote yes on a resolution that says we reviewed a document, when in fact it's not accurate? Now, if you're gonna tell me you reviewed it, that's fine, but I'm saying we weren't made a part of that chain, because it doesn't exist, for me, it doesn't exist, and you're saying it exists. The council are saying, obviously, it exists. I think your representation is
I don't know where we
fact.
are for that.
I think your representation is fact, but I don't know how we could possibly vote on a document, maybe Linda so. But, you know, I don't know how the 3 of you, the councilmen who voted for it, saw it, us 3 didn't see it. So, okay, I mean, you say it's there, I don't see it, you actually see. the
I
agreement?
have the resolution and the ordinance.
Yeah, there's no agreement.
That's what I have, the resolution.
May I suggest we table it, because the 3 of you can't possibly vote on a document saying you reviewed it, a resolution, when you, in fact, had, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you guys had. And I mean that respectful, but maybe we could just table it to the next meeting. Unless you're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna vote on a resolution, adopt an agreement we haven't seen. That's what you're gonna say. I don't think that's what you want to say. You want to caucus first?
Do we have the agreement? We can take a closed session and go over the agreement.
You knew everyone, the mayor,
Oh, we have it.
it's been forwarded, you guys have it.
Yep. Okay, I see it here, so.
I mean, well, it wasn't emailed to us, you know,
But we see your name on the email. I understand that you didn't read it, but
no, that's
it was
not true.
sent to you. Okay.
Hey, can you pull up the email, please?
I have,
Is the agreement on there? I don't have
How
it.
many attachments are there?
I have to.
That's fine.
There's a resolution and the ordinance.
Attached with
That's
any
it.
other report?
That's it. There's no redevelopment.
Did you have 3 attachments on your email? Oh, is that it?
That's the ordinance and the ordinance. That was the-
Okay, let's go into executive session and review this tonight.
If we're gonna go into executive session, Mayor, let's put on the record that we're going into executive session over a redevelopment agreement and potentially pending litigation. That means you'll have to clean up, and please take your briefcase. We have one fellow here who likes to leave his briefcase, which leaves me a little.
But may I ask, is the
I'd
point
like
of
a
the
motion
executive,
to go into executive session.
is the point of the executive session for us to review and vote on it tonight? Or
We already voted on it, actually.
well, then, you know, I don't, I'm giving you, I'm asking you to review, to,
So you have the opportunity to review it since you said you didn't see it.
I mean, how, this is probably one of the most
Right.
agreements that the boroughs entered into
Right.
in years.
Mr. I'd like
And now
Mr.
you're asking us, right, to review this document in the next 20 minutes and put a vote on it.
Well,
When you,
let's,
when, all right,
let's
we
talk about it. I'd like a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Cesari, seconded by Councilman David. I would respectfully ask Mr. Webster to remain. The agreement's right here. Yeah, make copies of this.
Madam Mayor, considering we only tonight received the final version of the redevelopment agreement, I would like to make a motion to rescind the previous vote, providing you authority to execute the agreement that was just passed on almost an hour or so ago. Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Cesari?
No.
Councilman David?
Nope.
Councilman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Councilman McDowell? Councilman Pence?
Yes.
Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
No.
Mayor?
Okay, I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add an ordinance for introduction by title only, entitled ordinance providing, approving the application and authorizing a financial agreement for a long-term tax exemption by and between the Borough of Kenilworth and Kenilworth Redevelopers Urban Renewal LLC.
Point of order. I would like to make a motion to table this introduction, considering we only received any version of the agreement in executive session. So, again, I would like to make the motion that that the introduction of the ordinance be tabled until we have an opportunity to review the ordinance and the financial agreement.
Councilman, just to correct it, it's not a point of order. That's part of your discussion on whether or not to vote yea or nay on whether the mayor will allow discussion. It's just not a point of order. You can discuss it during during the consideration of the vote. The point of order has to do with procedure.
Yeah, and I didn't get to say.
Oh, I thought we were assume they try to table it during Mark's.
Well, there wasn't any
Ordinance.
discussion on the previous, I'm sorry.
Either way.
No, I thought Mark was in the middle of his,
No, that's not.
I'm
I
just
was
saying-
ready to second the motion. I was ready to second that motion, and you jumped in.
Councilman,
All right,
Myers is second.
that's the point of order.
Councilman Myers is technical. I'm not saying
That's fine.
anything.
Second.
Seriously.
Okay.
Second. All right.
Now discussion, go for it.
Again, we're voting on an ordinance authorizing a pilot agreement. With only, while we're in the executive session, quite frankly, I don't think it's good practice for any one of us as a member of the governing body to vote on an introduction of anything, let alone an ordinance for a pilot program, without having at least 6 or 7 days to look at it and bounce it off each other.
Okay, we had a special meeting on Thursday, and this agreement was spoken about in detail. We just had an executive session and went into detail about the minor changes in some verbiage that were made to the original agreement. So, I just want to say that.
There would, well, as to the pilot, some of the changes were major, at least one was, or two was, in the redevelopment agreement. But more importantly, for the pilot program, I mean, we just saw it tonight, we just saw it while we were in the executive session, let alone, and now you're asking us to vote on it. I mean, it's just not the practice,
We've spoken about in depth on our special meeting last week, not even 7 days ago, Thursday.
I disagree. I think what happened last Thursday, I was here, was a very high-level discussion in education provided by the financial advisor, explaining to us what the pilot program was and how it works and the reason for it. We never really got into specifics. They mentioned what they would attempt to negotiate for, what it could, what the numbers could be or what they are, but we never actually saw the final numbers, and we certainly never saw and discussed what the actual provisions of the agreement would
I
entail.
actually made notes on them on the meeting and had the same notes that was presented tonight. So, I need a motion to amend the agenda for ordinance for introduction.
You already did it.
Okay, seconded, okay.
Now, that's the end of discussion.
Okay,
Take a
so
vote.
we'll do a vote.
Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Finestrolla?
No.
Councilman Gabby?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
No.
Councilman Puglisi?
No.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to introduce the ordinance entitled ordinance approving the application authorizing a financial agreement for a long-term tax exemption by and between the Borough of Kenneworth and Kenneworth Redevelopers Urban Renewal LLC.
Second.
I think we just went through this.
Did we? I didn't think so.
Yes.
It's repeating, we did this already. Okay, thank you, I guess we
Long
got
night.
confused. It's a long night. Next for council consideration is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Dottie, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari.
Resolutions 1 to 5 are listed on the consent agenda and will be enacted by motion. All items will be recorded individually and full in minutes. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Finestrolla?
Yes.
Councilman Gabby?
Yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
I have an ordinance tonight, ordinance number 2021-17, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, new communication and signal system equipment, new information technology equipment, and new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in and by the Borough of Kenneworth in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $3,372,500, the cost thereof, to appropriate various grants to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation and provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, the purpose of this ordinance is to provide financing for the capital budget plan. Is there a motion to open the floor for public discussion on this ordinance 2021-17 only?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilman Finestrella. Does anyone have anything to say on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Okay, seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close the floor for public discussion on this ordinance only.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Lavati, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 2021-17 for adoption?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilman Pence.
Be hereby resolved that ordinance 2021-17 entitled Bond Ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery, new communication and signal system equipment, new information technology, equipment, new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in and by the Borough of Kenneworth in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $3,372,500 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate various grants and make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Was introduced and approved on first reading at the regular meeting of the Borough Council on October 27, 2021, and approved for final passage at the regular meeting of the Borough Council of November 10, 2021, after all persons interested were given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to the law with a notice of its final adoption. Councilwoman Cesari?
Yes.
Councilman David?
Yes.
Councilman Finestrella?
Yes.
Councilman McDaddy?
I'd just like to thank the Finance Committee for supporting the capital project, and I vote yes.
Councilman Pence?
Yes.
And Councilman Puglisi?
Yes.
Okay, next we have Andrew Gasper. He's going to present his Eagle Scout project. Is he still here?
He's an Eagles fan.
Okay. Is there a motion to open the floor to the public?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Puglisi, seconded by Councilwoman Cesari. All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have anything to say for the good and well-being of Kenilworth? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Maya Noble. I live at 110 Street.
Good evening.
Morning, good evening. Yeah, Andrew McElroy, 71 Lynn Drive, Pine Township. I know my mother-in-law's been here before you guys, and I'm here to kind of talk on her behalf. I sent you guys an email, most of you an email, at the end of October with regards to an issue that she's having with, rodents and rats and,
We're aware.
that are there.
I have a whole file.
Yeah, I just wanted to be on record, essentially, kind of, reiterating what was in my email. You guys have an ordinance, 120-22.5, which is animals and birds. It's pretty clear in there that keeping of fowl, chickens, ducks, pigeons, horses, et cetera, is prohibited in all zones. It appears that at some point, the Board of Health had a discussion in 2012 with regards to some sort of exemption to keeping these chickens on this property. I'm not an attorney, I'm not gonna try to play one, but I do have some knowledge of, municipal land use, served on my planning board for 20 years almost. So I don't know how the Board of Health could have done an agreement to grant relief from the zoning ordinance in the first place, but that said, it appears that in November of 2012, it's pretty clear that that agreement fell apart, and that the Board of Health directed the health officer to instruct them that they had to comply with the ordinance, which would mean, I've heard my mother-in-law's been told that there was grandfathering potentially of these. The ordinance, irregardless, in the Board of Health minutes, it's obvious. The question was asked what the number of chickens that were allowed at the time. It was 5, according to the answer. In the minutes, it states that the residents were harboring like 24, which is 5 times the amount of the ordinance that they would have been allowed to grandfather. You can't, if they were grandfathered, just like a setback or anything else, you can't exacerbate
And chickens
the
will live
non-conformity.
5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and you can't exacerbate the non-conformity. If the non-conformity was 5, then 5 is what they have, not 25. So this is causing my mother-in-law significant financial hardship, much less stress and everything else. And candidly, unless there's some variance from the zoning board or some agreement that the township has that says that they're allowed to keep them, I don't understand why the ordinance is being
Well, I'm
enforced.
still trying to figure out as well how the Board of Health could,
Yeah, could grant relief from a
have the
zoning
authority
ordinance, right?
to,
Yeah.
and I'm working, I have the whole file.
I'm
here.
sure you guys got my
I've only
over
got
request of
2000
$25,000.
2008, I think,
Yeah.
so this is,
I
all these
just,
chickens should not be still alive.
yeah, I'm not trying to be difficult.
I
My
understand.
mother-in-law's not trying to be
I can't
difficult.
imagine
We want to
ways they
allow,
have to
yeah, I
deal
mean,
with
the
this. I
smell
can't
is
imagine.
horrible. It's
It's unacceptable.
Yes.
Let's say that.
And, I would just like the township to enforce the ordinance, and she would like the township to enforce the ordinance, and do what the governing body said that they wanted when they passed that ordinance in the first place. So, that's it. So I thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Mark?
Now, in regards to your complaint, as everyone knows, and maybe some people don't know, for the last couple of weeks, I've been going to mother-in-law's
And we thank
house every day, setting traps. I bought all the traps, I bait them, I put them out. We've caught 12 rats, and there's multiple holes under her deck, under her shed. You can still smell by her backyard, you can smell the chickens, you can hear them. The rats are bringing feed under the fence into her shed area. But the rats are there, rats are disease prone. We can't have them in the borough of Kenilworth, and we cannot have them in a residential area because of chickens. And I got plenty of paperwork where those chickens shouldn't be allowed anymore. So
I
something's
personally
got
saw
to
a
be done.
video from the Board of Health, in the chicken coop, in the rafter was the rat's tail going on video,
And I know they got a
So we
court
know
case
that-
Wednesday.
where the rats are coming from.
So something's got to go.
It's the chickens.
That's where we're at. And every day I still go and trap and kill rats.
Rats,
I'm getting
rats
good at it.
carry diseases that are,
Anybody got rats, I'll kill them.
well, thank you, Councilman.
Yes, thank you, Councilman.
Definitely going above and beyond. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
John Zimmerman, 26 North 7th Street. You guys just have finished discussing a plan to give a tax abatement to a redevelopment agreement for property, I believe, at North 26th Street. If you could please tell me and the people here that are from the town of Kenilworth what this is going to cost us as taxpayers. We got
It's not gonna cost us any money at all. We're
Sure.
actually gonna make money. It's not gonna cost any of the taxpayers. anything.
Okay, so could you give me what we expect to make in taxes, and what the abatement's gonna be, and what the bottom line is gonna be in this project?
I would have to have the financial agreement, the financial advisor actually, I don't have all those details, exact numbers right in front of me, but I can get them for you and email them to you.
Is the whole idea of this to give them, to put the
The whole idea is to
126 units in
comply,
there?
which we have not complied with our affordable housing obligation for 40 years.
That's what
And
this
the
is
borough
about.
is facing a builder's remedy lawsuit if we do not comply, okay? That's the reason for it.
I
On
know,
top of generating money for the town.
but here we go again, affordable housing. We're not talking about government,
No, we're not.
government setting the rate
Teachers,
as to what you want.
firemen,
In other words, they'll make some units $3,000, they'll make some units $2,000, and there's no senior citizens that can afford to pay $2,000.
Well, it
So those
goes
units
by-
will sit empty.
no, it doesn't go, that isn't correct. It goes by the median income, and there is some low and very low. So the seniors would qualify, as well as we have a veteran preference to get those units.
It
So
seems
the
like,
luxury units, you're right, most of the units are probably going to be $3,000 a month.
probably more than that.
Or maybe more,
But
correct.
I would see
But there are 25 affordable units.
at $2,500.
Well, I'm not, I can't answer what that number is going to be.
And clearly, the agreement's gonna cost the town money, there's no dispute as to that, that's the whole point of the agreement. And that's the whole, I mean, you can't say the agreement's not gonna cost the town money.
developer's gonna
That's the whole
pay
point of the
all
agreement, that's what we
those.
learned, that's what we learned Thursday. That's the reason why the pilot agreement
It's not
exists.
going to cost us any money.
So why would a developer ask us to pay more money to the town? That's not the case. The point of the pilot agreement is so the developer pays less money in taxes, come on.
Right, he's spending
He's-
$55 million
that's obvious,
on
but
a
that's-
vacant
that's-
piece of property.
That's, sorry.
Right, that property will never be developed without a pilot, as almost every single development doesn't happen without a pilot. It's a blighted piece of property that's generating no money. This person's coming in and spending probably $55 million, and most important, giving us compliance with the Superior Court. And that's the biggest issue, and the biggest thing the borough has to lose, because this property will get developed, whether it is that we move forward voluntarily, or they draw a builder's remedy lawsuit, and then they control. So this project will happen.
Well, I would like to get to that point
Okay.
where we're with the developer and let him threaten that, because quite frankly, it's not the right location for it, number one. Number two, I see no basis to give any developer a rebate on taxes when everyone in this room who owns property has to pay the full boat. Why should we give a developer a break on taxes? I just don't understand the concept.
It's just the way that it works. It's the way that it works.
I mean, well,
Are we still in public We're
Yeah,
open to the public.
let the public speak, please, because we
Yes.
go through this argument every meeting.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Anything else?
What are the senior meetings?
Right. I just could see that going on down at 7th Street. I could see it going on at Burke, and I could see the taxpayers picking up the tab. And I don't, I pay enough taxes now living in Kenworth, and I don't want to pay anymore. Thank
I
you.
agree. Okay, anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I give you guys credit. Congratulations, I'm sorry, not
Name and address, please.
Carmen Bucco, 338 North 18th Street.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for your 28 years of service. What I do take offense to is when you make a public statement that I'm making a scam. I still today want to know what that scam is. I took offense to that. I'm very respectful to you. I congratulate you for doing 28 years of service in this town. Being up there is not an easy task. I am sure of it. But I do take a lot of offense to you saying that I'm a scam artist, publicly. If you want to.
Again, I know, I know people from Essex County, and they
Tell me what the
talk to
scam
them.
is. Sure, tell me what the
They
scam is.
just, everybody make it
I
up.
think we
Please
need to
tell me
make
what
this
the
better.
scam is.
I don't think this is for the good of.
Yeah, you're right.
It is,
You know what,
because
I
I'm a
apologize.
resident. I'm a resident, and I would like to know in Essex
I
County, because I'm very
apologize.
respected in Essex County.
I really apologize.
I thank you for that.
I
took-
really,
took
I'm
offense.
sorry for what I said.
I just want to read a statement, if I can find my glasses that never leave me. On November 2nd, the public spoke very loud in response to what has been happening throughout the government. And 2 council seats were taken over by over a 20% margin. This election was a statement of the lack of confidence by the residents of Kenworth and how things are being run under the mayor and have undermined the financial stability and personality of our town. The council and mayor.
Is that your opinion? You're stating your opinion.
I'm just giving my
Right,
opinion.
you're giving your.
That's fine.
Correct, okay.
It's not, no offense.
Right, I'm
not
just
here to
putting
offend
that
you.
on there.
The council and mayor have spoke very loud to the citizens over the last few years, basically saying you can't stop us. And to be honest with you, we've actually seen that here, and it's a shame, and I say to all of you, what I see up here as an individual, we're not getting along. Everybody's like, well, what we said in the room is gonna change and we're gonna do what we want. It doesn't make the people feel good about what's going on in this council, whether it's you guys or you guys. People don't feel comfortable. It is interesting that the last few years ago, in the public record, the council under Democratic control voted against Mayor DeLuca on moving forward with a redevelopment plan, including rejecting an offer for a railroad right away for $1. And that's on public record. Can you speak to any of that?
I wasn't on.
You weren't
at
there.
that time. I'm not even sure what you're referring to at all.
Yeah.
So
What if there's John Perry?
well, who was the mayor at that point, or who was on council? I mean, you guys were on council, nobody was on council. DeLuca was mayor, so I don't know.
I don't believe that there was ever a redevelopment vote when he was mayor. I mean,
To my understanding, there was, and the
do
Democrats.
you have a copy of that? I'd be
But
interested to see that.
I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll get it.
please.
I'll get it.
I'll look it up.
I mean, if you wanna look it up and get back to me,
I'll
look,
get
if
back
I'm
to you.
wrong, please tell me I'm wrong.
You are.
I'm sorry?
I believe that you're mistaken.
I remember we
You made a
did
mistake.
COA.
Well,
Trying
COA
to
would be,
work
COA
with
would
that,
be
yeah,
affordable
exactly.
acting,
Working with
affordable
the-
housing,
We're
redevelopment.
trying to get an attorney to work it out so we won't get sued.
Right. Well, and you guys made a statement tonight, and everybody has an opinion, right? I've seen these buildings built, all over the state, and I get it. Look, when it comes to affordable housing, I'm in agreement with it, because as a foster child, the state threw me out, I had no place to live, they're single parents, I get it. But to build 165 units in an area where the traffic is just unbearable as it is, to me, doesn't make any sense.
Well, there'll be a traffic study that they will have to comply to, and if that doesn't work out, then they're not going to be able to build.
This is far from getting
Well, look, here,
Pretty simple.
the reality is now you're ramming the publicity rejected the redevelopment project down the throats of the town without care for long-term harm to the community. I mean, does anybody know when these buildings are built, 5 years when these buildings are up? and there's a tax abatement, it falls on the taxpayer. I mean, we need more cops, we need more fire, and we're gonna
That's
need a
not
better school.
actually contrary to what you think. And I'll use Cranford as an example, who has built, 7 that come to my mind.
Over how many
They
years?
have not added, well, they've been complying for the last 20 years.
But
They have
over the
not
last couple
added
years.
any to their police department. They
Not
have
yet.
not added,
Not yet, but it's gonna come. But we gotta look at reality, right?
listen,
We're
we have to
looking at
comply with
tomorrow.
the Supreme Court, because they don't care whether we need to add what, you know.
But somebody, right, but Linda, Mrs. Mayor, with all due respect, the taxpayers have to pay for it. You're looking at upwards of $5 million to $10 million over the next 10 years after the building is built.
I don't know where you even come up with these numbers and what
All right.
statistics you're pulling them from, so I think we should move on.
Okay. Tonight, we listened to the reading of a pilot program or tax abatements for the project. This plan is to make the builders rich, not the town. The town's gonna pay for it, no matter what. And I can't see how you can say we're not gonna be reliable for it.
Well, right now, the property's not generating, it's generating almost no money.
No, I
It's
get
flooded.
it. Listen, I believe everybody should make money.
And listen, this
Everybody
is
should
all
make money.
about our obligation to the court, and we
I-
don't wanna lose control of the
I'm
project,
not
and we
arguing.
will if we don't move
Listen, I'm
forward.
not arguing that.
Okay.
All I'm
Well,
saying
that
is,
seems like you are.
no,
Okay.
no. What I'm arguing is fight, I'm sorry?
Just say, put paper in and let's get this
Right,
going.
let's go.
I'm sitting here saying for the taxpayers themselves, and I really don't appreciate that kind of an attitude. I've been very respectful.
I'm just saying, I don't want it going back and forth between you and the mayor. I want to hear you, I want you to continue what you're saying and let's get through it.
Have you all considered the cost, the community and the increased cost of public works, police, schools, and the devastating increases to the Raritan River? Have you guys even thought about that?
Absolutely.
All right, so this is absurd, and I know you guys already voted on it, and I urge you to think about what you're doing before you destroy this town. We will let everyone in Kenworth know that what is going on is gonna cost them. In the long run, it's gonna cost them. I wanna thank you guys for your time, and again, thank you for your service to the community. Thank you guys for sitting here and taking all this.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Joseph Rizzo Jr., 212 Ward 21st Street. Question regarding ordinance 2021-17 in summary. When was this drafted? I mean, how many exactly?
The ordinance, just in the last week,
Oh, okay.
it's the redevelopment, right?
No, not the redevelopment, the
No,
one
which one you got
with the bond and the,
Oh, the bond ordinance.
That's been.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's so much talk about the other ordinance.
yeah.
That was introduced at the October 27th meeting.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, but it was in the works before that?
Yes.
Okay, okay. But the other pilot program, the ordinance that we had to actually make a motion to amend the agenda in order to discuss it and pass it, was just done last week? Something this important for the town? Mayor and council thought 1 week was enough time to review that?
Well,
Or
we had-
even
We did
2
have time
hours?
to review it, and we had a special meeting for several hours.
Yeah.
Over all the details.
For something that thick, but this ordinance was in the works
I'm
before.
not
October.
exactly sure why the ordinance,
And
when was it?
We introduced the bond ordinance on October 27th.
October, so that was our last meeting, so there would be an introduction, and then the next one is the adoption. So it's done in the same time, because today, all we did was the introduction. There still needs to be an second reading.
So
So
the
the
details,
timeframe is exactly the same.
but
to
that's
answer
my
your
question, the details of the pilot program, they still haven't been negotiated yet?
They were negotiated, and that negotiation was explained in detail to us. And like I said, this ordinance is introduced, it's not final, it's not passed yet, and in the same time frame that the other one. They're usually introduced on one reading and passed on the second. That's how it goes.
Okay.
But usually we get more notice. Quite frankly, we didn't get notice of the ordinance until after business hours last night. And we didn't get this packet of the pilot program until perhaps, I don't know, it was 8:30 when we,
Which is
Seven,
just in
you
print
know,
what
what was
we
it,
went
7:30
through.
when we got
We're not gonna
it?
go, it's just in print what we went through last
That's,
week. in the
yeah, I
budget.
understand maybe there's an email glitch, that's perfectly fine, but something this important for the town, don't you think it's a little bit more, or, you know, to review it a little bit harder, make
We've
sure
been
that everything
reviewing
looks
this
done?
for
And
years.
This is 6 years.
And we needed that compliance with the Superior Court,
Yep,
and what,
New Jersey.
and what was
We
that
have an
for?
affordable obligation requirement with the state.
New Jersey state law.
This project has been on the agenda or in the works for, before I was on council.
Yep.
So
So, and-
we're 5 minutes before a lawsuit.
So very quickly, 5 minutes before the
Well,
lawsuit, what
I
what
expected
percentage of the
Bill-
memorial obligation are we fulfilling with this development?
We're fulfilling only 25 units and
So we
our
have
obligation is
360
360
units affordable housing we
Right.
have to have.
That
This,
require, right?
However, but
this project's gonna do 25, so we're still responsible for 340, whatever.
But-
So everywhere else in Canada where, that has vacant property where people wanna put up affordable housing,
Yeah.
they're gonna be able to do it.
right. And
So,
also,
be prepared.
the important aspect here is that we, by moving forward with this project, we are protected for 10 years from a builder's friendly lawsuit. So we can control if someone comes in and
That's
says,
great,
I
and
want to build this.
I think
If
it's gonna
we
be a
have a
great project,
lawsuit,
and it's gonna be
once-
good for the town.
Right, once the
think-
lawsuit happens and it's filed, we lose all control. So that means that the developer's not coming to our planning board, they're going to the court.
Well, that's a lot of
And this
ifs.
one, well,
That's a
it
lot
hap-
of ifs, and if the Superior, if
happens,
it
look
does go
in
to the Superior Court,
the
they're not
towns all
gonna be
around us
able,
that have had
they're not gonna be
builders
able to
lawsuits.
give them something that is that substantial, maybe 20% of the entire subdivision. I have a little bit of background with this. Maybe 20% of the entire project would be able to be low-income housing. So to keep saying that we're at the threat of having a lawsuit, that's not completely correct. So I'm just confused why something this important for our town, which I think would benefit the town, but has to be done correctly, it has to have the correct overview, not something that we need to have a motion to change the agenda because we didn't have time to even put on the agenda, but now we have time to review it.
It wasn't 100% completed. They were working out, there was some verbiage that they wanted to change in the agreement, which was explained in detail tonight, and it really wasn't that much.
Explain in detail, okay.
And,
Well,
and
I
again,
missed
this has
that detail.
been, this may be new here for you, but this has been going on in negotiations and talks since I've been on council. This has been going on for, before I was mayor.
I thought it was,
This
I
specific
thought it started
project.
Thursday when you were
No.
given the information for, I'm
No.
talking about the pilot program.
We've given the details of the pilot program, but the fact that there was going to be a pilot program attached to this is no
The
secret.
devil is in the details, and the
Right.
details were given last Thursday.
Right, and we were,
So quickly to this meeting
And
that
it was
we
a
didn't even have
benefit
time
to
to
the
put on
town.
the agenda. But that was just one point that I'd like to get across. So we
Okay.
thought it was still
okay,
good enough to vote on it,
Yes.
even though we couldn't even get on the agenda. Okay, thank you.
thank you.
I mean, to be clear, I was never told that there would be a pilot program. I know the resolutions and what we had passed gave the authority to discuss a pilot program at the very least, but I had never known that, I presumed, but I had never known that a pilot program was gonna be discussed at all, until last Thursday. And we were given generalities as what, could entail, it might entail, and that having, it was a very high level discussion. There was nothing specific. There's certainly nothing that, that we,
Well, I think
now,
we're
this-
going back
this-
and forth
this
on my
50
notes
pages.
for exactly what was in the agreement. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rich Pacerno, 241 52 Avenue, Kenilworth, New Jersey. And since nobody has, I will congratulate Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Ministrelli on their win as council people.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight as a citizen of this great borough. And I have read all the documents that were privy to me, of course, not what you all get. And I look at this from a very different perspective. I understand what a pilot program is, I understand what the acronym means. I understand why it was put in place, I understand when it was put in place. I also understand, I guess, Mr. Zimmerman was your name?
Yes.
Your concerns about taxes and if they're going to be raised. Right now, your taxes, whatever you pay in your taxes, 25 to 30% of that only reach this borough. Everything else goes to the county and the schools and things like that. Please don't hold me to the final figure, because it could be 32.7, and I don't want to be held liable for that. But I will tell you that with a redevelopment program in place, you're more protected, because 95% of that money goes to the borough. So that money, hypothetically speaking, if a condemned piece of property, which we're talking about right now, is paying taxes to the tune of maybe $20,000, that's all this borough is seeing for the year. I don't know the exact number, so I can be challenged on that. Could be 22, could be 7, don't know, but I think it's around 20. But I will tell you, if you do some calculations, a piece of property like that, after an investment like that, you could probably yield upwards of $400,000 a year. 400,000. 95% of that, let's just say 375, reaches the borough of the council. They can now do whatever they want with it. They don't have to give it to the county. They don't have to give it to the school. That money is now working for you. No one is telling us as the citizens, oh, we gotta give so much to the school, so much here. No. These people right here, these 7 people, are going to divvy that money up to the best ability possible. You talk about a 30-year program. If you take a look at it over a 30-year span, you've got $12 million. $12 million in 30 years. If you look at it for 30 years at $20,000, you got a few $100,000. That's it. So the way out, when you talk about taxes, is a pretty big difference. Now, there's pros and cons of what can happen, but I also know that rent can go up by 3% every year. So that 3% is also taxable income that the borough will get. So that can amortize over a period of 30 years, which increases the amount of money. I don't know, I was told that you had any financial expert that says that you need to put, if you could get a pilot program in place, take it and run like a deer. It's like the Target commercial. Start the car, start the car. It's the greatest thing a municipality could have. It's the protection of all us residents. I do understand Mr. Rizzo and why he's thinking the way he's thinking. And he is for this program. I mean, he's a friend of mine, and he thinks that this might be something good for the town, but he also wants more explanation. I would like more explanation too, but I would like to say we need to get it moving. This is not Democrats, this is not Republicans, this is citizens, this is us. They're all nice people. But I know one thing. I do my research. I don't go by what somebody tells me. I heard someone else say tonight that they're not happy with the way things are going. I am pretty happy with the way things are going because it's starting to move. Way back, all the way to Kathy Fiamingo, we were talking about this very same thing. You know how many years has passed? There is so much that have gone on between Kathy, Scott, Freddie, Tony, and now Linda. Sal, myself, at his house, Peter, Tony, Freddie, all the people that we were all together talking about this. This is nothing new. This didn't happen a week ago. It came to fruition a week ago. But this has been going on and on and on and on. If you don't get on board, nobody has a gun to anybody's head, but I want you to look at the real side of this. This is affordable housing, not low income, not Section 8. If you balk at something like this and wait too long, you will get that, and that's not what you want to have. I'm not a guru, but I can tell you this. They've got 165 units, 25 set aside first for our vets. Those are called coach units. The state law mandates that in coach units, you got to have 5 one-bedrooms, 15 two-bedrooms, and 5 three-bedrooms set aside. State law. Take them out of the hopper. Right now, you have 140 units. Out of 140 units, you got 96 one-bedroom and 44 two-bedroom units. People are worried about impact of schools and this and that. most of these people that are coming here are not really the people that are going to impact your school. They're not really the people. Now, I don't have a crystal ball to say, oh, this is what's going to happen. But you're talking about a unit that may be $2,500 to $3,000. Who's really got that? People like, I don't want to say myself, but people who are up in years that are looking at the end of the game. This would be a wonderful thing for somebody in a position like us, older folks, that can say, it's time for me to sell a house, I don't want a motor lawn. I'm going to go and have my life on the prairie. What a wonderful thing in the greatest town that I could call home, because a lot of us who are not as fortunate as others will get pushed out eventually. They can't meet their tax requirements. They can't pay their medical bills. This is a great ace in the hole. The most important thing here for me is that our veterans come first. Whatever age you're a veteran, you come first. So it's being protected that way. So if you take a look at the numbers, so you got 140 left. How many of them are going to have kids? 50%? 75? 75 kids, 70 kids? You think that? I don't. I think it's going to be a much less number. It's going to impact our school. We got a voucher program. Get rid of it. Put our kids in our schools. And let's start thinking along those lines. Listen, I don't go to work anymore in a horse and carriage. I take a nice car to work. So when I think about my town, I want it to grow with me. I want it to grow with my children. I want it to grow with my grandchildren. So what I'm asking you to do, please don't look at any one of those Democrats up there. Don't look at any one of those Republicans up there. Because all you heard was 3 yeses, 4 yeses, and 3 nos. World don't work like that. Your house don't work like that. Think about this as an individual. Will it help us or will it hurt us? Or do we want to sit on this side and say no, and sit on that side and say yes? So what I'm asking the people of Kenilworth to do, let's cut the chicken crap. I don't want to hear about it anymore. All I want to hear about is everybody getting on the same level playing field, get the gloves off, let's go in a room and say, hey, is this really going to work? Or do I want to do it when I become the controlling council? Or can we do it now? But you will have a remedy lawsuit in your pocket immediately, no matter how you act, and especially if one side or the other gets too cocky and says, well, this is what we're going to do, then you can have egg in your face. Come on, guys and ladies. Let's work this thing out together. May not be the greatest thing since the wheel. It's new, and most of us don't like change. But I can tell you, looking at everything I have, I don't want to be carrying the political football for the next 3 years because another Republican got in. I'm a Republican, guys. I'm a Republican. You may not think so, but I am a Republican. The mayor knows it. The council knows it. These people know it. These people may think, you're not a Republican. You hang out with the Democrats. I hang out with people who I like. And that's who I am. I look on the right side of things. So why I'm so passionate about this is because my kids are here, my grandkids are here, my wife and I are here. We're not going anywhere. I don't want what I've heard that may become. And if you don't get on board with this, somebody's going to come in here and you will see 300 low income. Not affordable housing, low income. Then we all better pack the horse and carriage. So that's the only point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to demean anybody. I'm trying to be passionate, a friend. I'm trying to maybe educate some, but I also want to learn. I may be wrong. I may be. So teach me. But these are the things that I know and I've researched. I just don't want to not vote on something or be a part of something because somebody told me so. I did it myself. None of them, none of these. Just did it myself. So that's really all I have to offer Mayor and Council. I really hope that in the time to come that we can all get along, try to get this thing moving, try to get everything else moving. I don't want to be caught in the crossfire as a citizen. So this is all I have. I don't know what else to say. We've been fighting for this thing for over 10 years. Not 5, not 6, not 7. And every mayor on that board has been confronted with this. It's not your problem. It's all of this problem. So here we are. We need to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, just to that point, I
Sure.
don't think that if we were to turn it down and get 300 low-income housing, developers actually don't like low-income housing, right? They want, if they can get it, if they had their druthers, they would prefer all luxury apartments. So I don't think if we were to turn around and we get, low-income housing or any of that.
Well, I agree, but I think the 165 will be 365. That's what-
It could very well be.
Because they'll be able to provide more affordable housing of more of our obligation, and that's what the court's gonna allow them to do, because we are short 300 and something units.
In
But I don't wanna
addition
change
to that, I
that.
just want to say one more thing. Right now, the builders, the developers are salivating. They're watching. They're waiting to see what's happening. They're going to be like roaches coming out of their woodwork. What you people do for the next 2 months here is going to be so important. And what you do for the next 12 is even more important. Because we don't want to wake up and say, oh man, I remember that. I remember what he said. I remember what they said. I should have looked at it this way. Or maybe I'm 100% wrong. But tonight, go home, think about it. And just think about the amount of money this borough will make, that they can do what they want to. There will be a study. There will be nothing. Listen, nothing is going to get past that planning board without having a complete record, if I'm here or not. Because those guys and those women that take care of that planning board know their stuff.
Well, I mean, this is what kind of concerns me, Rich.
Sure.
You're the chair of the planning board, and you're here, obviously advocating for the project. So, I mean, how are we, as the taxpayers, Rich, you're supposed to be neutral when this application goes before you, but you're here week after week supporting the application. So, it's just what we heard.
No,
I
I want to ask you a question.
So I would, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I think when you have a position, on the board, I think sometimes it's better off that we not openly provide yay or nay support on that, because that's gonna go to you, and without even seeing, nothing more than, I believe all we have is conceptual plans. So now you're saying, we should do this, we should do that, and this can go before you, Rich, so. And
And
that's
I
what,
agree with you, and I took that into consideration before I came up here tonight and gave you my feelings. But if you remember, on other nights, sometimes I said, I'm here as the planning board chairman. Tonight I said, I am Rich Pacerno, 241 P2 Avenue, a concerned citizen of what's about to happen, and you can check the records. I was thought out when I came up here. Now, if you're saying I'm going to be biased one way or the other, yes, I am as much for this as you are against it. But I can hear you saying no to anything that comes on the other side. Fred, listen, you and I have had our differences along the way. I don't dislike you. I just have a different opinion than you. But all I'm trying to say is, how can I get my opinion over to your thought process and yours over to mine so that we can work together and see this thing through? I don't want to hit
Well, here's the
anybody
answer to
apart.
your question, because, and I said this to the mayor before, from go, this has been a take it or leave it proposition. When I say us, I mean the people, the newly elected people. They've been elected this year and last year. It's been take it or leave it. Yes or
This
no?
ball's been rolling before you were on. It isn't take it or leave it. It was already the wheels were already in motion before you got here. This project was
Understood.
already-
But for the past 2 years, for the past, I should say,
Well,
year that I've been on here,
only a year.
it's been, it's either our way or the highway. That's exactly, sure.
Well,
When did anybody?
Enough.
This is every time we
But
go
this,
this route.
Mr. Bowles,
I would like to,
I don't want to make this a negative dialogue. I really don't. I really am trying not to. But I just want to just say this to you from what you just said. I know you a long time, and I know that you and I, when we were better friends, had many conversations about pilot programs that you know inside out. You know them. I mean, you and I discussed them. We have discussed them with other people on many occasions. And that's how I learned it. I mean, I came in well after you and Sal and all the other guys and Marty and all of those guys. And that's how I learned it. But I kept learning and I kept my mind open. But to say tonight that we're getting this jammed down our throat,
You could have wrote that brief. You could have wrote that doc. You know it better than anybody. Now, I can't say the same for Mr. Venestrella because I don't know how long he's been on this, in this circuit, in this realm of understanding what the municipal land use laws are or what a pilot program is. I can't say the same for Mr. Pence. I don't know him that long. But I like him. But I just like to have this conversation. I like to keep an open dialogue. So, my final answer to you is that if I am still the planning board chairman and this comes before me, I will keep an open mind. Yes, I do like the program, and I'll say that publicly, but nothing's getting passed because I like the program. It has to be right, it has to have the right traffic, it has to have the right feel, it has to be 100% good, because I live here. I live here. And that's what I want to present to these people who may have another thought. You know, right now, for many years, everybody was saying, oh, the builders, they get everything. How can we give it all to the builders? The builders, the builders. Well, the builders are here tonight. I'm a builder, I'm here. Now it's the developers. So we're going down the chain of who we're not gonna like. All I'm saying is, please, let's help one another. Let's help one another out, okay? Thank you again.
Just one point.
Sure.
Just one point.
Sure.
What's our obligation, 300 and what?
365.
65.
I said before
What
666, but it is
percentage
365.
of this unit, this project that we're doing, 15% is, do the math.
I did.
Do the math. How many units do we have to build in town to fulfill our obligation?
Well, those
Now we're on
credits we
board,
can get.
and nobody
How
can
many?
But now we're on board.
I understand where I'm going.
But if we don't get on
It's
board,
over 2,000 units where we put it.
but now we're on board. Mr. Pence, now we're on board. Nobody can come and say, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. Now they have to
I'm
follow.
looking at the density issue over here.
Listen,
You're talking 45 units per acre.
But they can't come in here.
Bradford's doing 20.
But they can't come in and do what they want. Now there's a program in place. There's a criteria they have to follow.
I
Right now,
understand
we're
that
why,
the density's too high.
well, the
Well,
density's too
you're gonna argue
high.
that with the court.
That's an argument for the
Density's
court.
too
It's
high.
not.
Listen, I
we
agree with
didn't
you
make that
there.
density.
Where are we gonna get all of these to meet 365? It's an unreachable number.
Yes.
But we're on board.
We
But
can't
thank you
be
for
sued.
taking the time.
That's what's
And
important.
just to be clear, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not saying I welcome the builder's remedy suit. What I would like is, at the very least, no one wins in the builder's remedy suit. But what I would like to say is, you know, I would like to have, we should have a seat at the table. You know, and we should be able to discuss, you know, have some input as to this project. But, you know, I mean, we don't shut out.
You know what, we've had so many meetings and I totally take offense to the fact that we've been shut out. Because that is, nothing is further from the truth.
And then nothing you
Okay.
can say,
No,
nothing you can say that we can shut out more, other
Okay.
than things get added on the agenda last second. You're asking us to vote on a document that was given to us 15 minutes before, that's about an inch thick. We haven't been shut
I think
out.
we've
Okay.
argued this like 20 times already tonight.
It's not seeming to me.
How can you work together with that, Rich?
Sal Pandarella, 320 North 21st Street. First of all, the statement you just made as mayor, the state does not dictate density in any project.
Correct, I do understand.
You said that.
Yes.
State does not
They
dictate density.
dictate our requirement.
Absolutely,
That's
you do
what I-
dictate
that's
your
what I
code
said.
requirements.
Right, that's what I said.
Okay, let me go.
Not, I didn't say density. I
No,
said-
you did say density.
Well, I
Go check it out.
misspoke then,
Okay.
that wasn't what I
All right.
meant.
Number two, I'm a developer, I work for a big developer guy. Why didn't we get 20% COA like every other, most other, or many other developments in our surrounding area? We should have gotten 20% density, and I put that on our council to have gone back to the state and negotiated, because this town could have got rid of 30% or 40% of the required COA, of the COA requirements based on what you're doing now. We never even went.
No, that will happen. There
It
are-
should have happened
there are
already.
credits that will,
It should have happened. You're getting 25 credits or whatever that number is.
I
You
don't
should have
think
gotten
we
3
can,
times.
I don't think we can negotiate that until it actually happens.
This is supposed to be
We can't
one
negotiate with
and
the
the
state
other.
on concept, Sal. We can't negotiate with the state on concept. This project still has to go through the planning board. This is not a done deal by, and you know that, and you know
I'm
the
well
process.
aware of that.
I know, and I also read you commenting on social media saying, and I actually have a copy of it, that any member of the governing body that would allow a builder's remedy lawsuit should be impeached. So, what do you
No,
You
excuse me.
did write that, and I have it
didn't,
printed.
show it to me. I never word,
I
used
will
the
show it
word,
to you
I
as soon
never,
as after this, I'll show it to you.
you
put
can
it
come,
on
you can
social
show it to me
media.
right now, because I never said it.
Okay,
I don't, you go on social media, but,
I saw it.
no, now you put words in my mouth, I never wrote those words.
You
I'm
did.
sorry, I take offense to that, I never wrote those words.
I don't wanna put this on, social media, but I'll show it to you.
You should have gotten 20% COLA, and have built, and by the way, a pilot program only benefits the developer, doesn't benefit anybody else. And don't tell me what I put on social media,
Yep,
please.
you did. I know you wanna laugh about it, but you did. Okay, anyone else? Public comment? Okay, seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion to,
Close.
close
Motion,
public.
second.
Motion made by Councilman Hunt, seconded by Councilman David. If there's nothing else to be brought before the council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Henry, isn't there a portion where we can talk about this? You know what?
I'll make a motion to get out of here.
I'll second.
I'm not listening to no more BS. I don't know tonight.